Find your way here. What calls to you? What drives you? What makes you keep searching for a better answer, a better way forward? Find your beat, your rhythm, your voice, your place among the trailblazers, the visionaries, those who found their way here and created a legacy for you to build on. Part of a vast array of students from all walks of life. Find your why, your breakthrough, your opportunity to transform with educators whose passion for teaching and research inspires discovery and ignites change. Find your wow, your aha moment, your place in a growing family of Spartans who found their way here to a vibrant campus deeply woven into the fabric of a thriving city. Find your inspiration, your connection, your community, a future of earned achievement, pride and purpose. Find more than an education. Find your journey, your home, and make a remarkable impact every day. UNC Greensboro. Find your way here.
All right, well, good morning, future Spartans. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Saturday. We know there are tons of other things that you could be doing today, but we are so thankful that you chose to spend your Saturday morning with us and to learn a little bit more about UNC Greensboro and all of the cool and exciting things that we have going on here on campus this year and throughout the year. So I'm super excited to host for you today. My name is Stone Yates. I am an admissions counselor here at UNC Greensboro. I primarily serve Southern North Carolina and Southeastern North Carolina, as well as the entire state of Maryland. And I'm so excited to have the privilege of being able to speak to you all today. Today we are also joined by two Spartan guides here, and I'm going to actually allow them to go ahead and introduce themselves. So Karen and Isabella, if you could say a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Espinoza. I'm a senior marketing major with a minor in IT, and I'm really happy to be here today. Other than being a Spartan guide, I'm part of a folkloric dance club, and I used to be an orientation leader.
Hi, everyone. My name is Isabella. I am a senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, studying psychology with a minor in Spanish. And aside from being a Spartan guide, I'm a part of the Lloyd International Honors College, as well as the Silver Leadership Challenge.
Awesome. Thank you both. So as you can probably guess, today you are here to get a full presentation about all the things that UNC Greensboro has to offer. Throughout the presentation, you are actually going to see a text number pop up. Now that text number is going to allow you to ask questions in real time that our Spartan guides and myself can answer at the end of our presentation today. So I highly encourage you, if you have any questions whatsoever about UNC Greensboro or the application process specifically, please don't hesitate to text that number and ask your question so we can hopefully get an answer out to you. Awesome. So like I said before, we are super glad that you are all here today. And of course, as always, we hope that you are staying healthy and safe during this time. And we hope you're prepared to learn about UNC Greensboro today. So buckle up. We have a lot to talk to you about. So some of the things that you can expect today from this presentation. We are going to talk a little bit about student life and some of the awesome activities and extracurriculars, clubs and organizations that you can look forward to participating in here on campus once you are a full-fledged Spartan. We're going to talk a little bit about academic excellence and some of the unique academic things that help set UNC Greensboro apart from other institutions. And then we are going to actually talk to you a little bit about the admissions process and what you need to do in order to make yourself as competitive an applicant as possible so that we can help get you here at UNC Greensboro. And then lastly, at the end of the presentation, we are going to conclude with a Q&A session with our panel. So that's going to include myself and, of course, our two Spartan guides, Karen and Isabella. Now, one thing I want you to pay special attention to as we go through this presentation is that UNC Greensboro, we have a motto of find your way here. And that motto was actually created out of our pre-existing culture here at UNC Greensboro. But the one thing that I want you to take away from this session is that we are more than just about finding your way here. At UNC Greensboro, we want you to find your people here. We want you to find your passions here. And most importantly, we want you to find your own unique space here where you can truly be your authentic self while also pursuing academic excellence. Now, I do want to begin by talking a little bit about the history of the university. So you'll notice here on this slide, we have two images of two buildings, one old, one new. I want to mention that these are actually the exact same building. So we are a university that is steeped in history, but we are also a university that prides ourselves on being innovators, leaders in not only the UNC system, but the world of higher education. And we are constantly making improvements and updates to our campus to meet the needs of our student body. Now, in 1891, we were actually founded by Charles Duncan McKeever, and we were originally founded as a women's institution. We would go on to become the premier women's institution in the country and one of the largest public women's institutions before becoming co-educational in 1963. Now, as you can imagine, once we opened the door to that new population of students, our student body skyrocketed exponentially, and we've continued to grow since. And in 2017, we actually managed to hit the 20,000 student mark, which is something we are super proud of here. But what I want to let you know is that despite that larger number and being a mid to larger tier institution, we still managed to maintain a median class size of 27 and a student to faculty ratio of 20:1. So what that means is as our student body grows, our faculty and staff grow as well so that we can continue to meet the needs and help support our students in every way possible. Now, if you recall, I mentioned that we are an institution that is steeped in history, but we're also innovators and leaders. Now, one of the things that kind of speaks to that is the fact that in 1932, UNC Greensboro, alongside our sister institutions, UNC Chapel Hill and NC State, were actually credited as helping found the UNC system. Now, you probably recognize the UNC system today as being comprised of 16 different institutions, including the North Carolina School of Science and Math. But at the time, there were only 3 institutions, and UNC Greensboro was one of those founders. So at UNC Greensboro, we have a lot to offer academically. We actually have over 125 different undergraduate degree programs for you to choose from across our 6 different schools and colleges here. And so I'm just going to go through each one of those schools quickly. I do want to begin by talking about our Bryan School of Business and Economics. Our Bryan School of Business and Economics just recently celebrated their 50th anniversary. So they've been graduating top tier business students for the past 50 years, and we anticipate that they are going to continue to do that for years to come. Now, our Bryan School of Business and Economics is actually recognized globally. So we are a top-rated institution worldwide. We are ranked in the top 1% of business schools throughout the world, and we are both accredited in business administration and accounting globally. Now, this school is going to be home to a lot of majors that you're probably familiar with, such as accounting, business administration, entrepreneurship, and finance. But we're also home to some unique majors as well, one of which is consumer apparel and retail studies. Now, that is a major that is unique to UNC Greensboro, and that is a major that allows anyone who is passionate about fashion merchandising, fashion marketing, or fashion supply chain management to pursue a degree in that, and they can actually go on to work within the world of fashion. So if that's something you're interested in, I highly encourage you to check that out at some point as you learn more about UNC Greensboro and do some exploring of your own. Now, moving on, I want to talk a little bit about our College of Visual and Performing Arts. Now, our College of Visual and Performing Arts is recognized nationwide as having some of the best visual and performing arts programs in the country. Some of those include studio art, which entails drawing, printmaking, painting, photography, and sculpting, as well as music, music education, dance, theater, and musical theater. Now, within our College of Visual and Performing Arts, you have the opportunity to get your Bachelor of Arts, but you also have the opportunity to get your Bachelor's of Fine Arts as well, so that you can go on to be a performer within your specific area of study. Now, of course, you also have the opportunity to combine any one of these majors with our education licensure track so that you can go on to teach. So you could end up becoming a choreographer if that's something you're passionate about, or an art teacher, a photography teacher, or a director for different theater companies and theater groups. So that is something that I highly encourage you all to check out as well if the performing arts or the visual arts are things that you're interested in. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about our School of Health and Human Sciences. So many of our health science related majors are going to be housed within our School of Health and Human Sciences, most notably kinesiology, which is one of our more popular majors here at UNC Greensboro and is actually one of the top rated kinesiology programs in the country. So if you're interested in sports medicine, athletic training, or physical therapy, I highly encourage you to check out our kinesiology program. In addition to that, we have popular majors such as social work, where you can actually graduate with your BSW or your Bachelor's of Social Work and get real clinical experience before transitioning into the career field. Or our unique major, speech pathology and audiology, which is another major that is kind of unique to UNC Greensboro. Now, moving on to our College of Arts and Sciences, there's not much I can say about our College of Arts and Sciences other than the fact that it is our largest school here at UNC Greensboro, and it is home to some of our most popular majors and some of the majors you're probably most familiar with, such as biology, chemistry, computer science, philosophy, psychology, and sociology, just to name a few. But those are all majors that are housed within our College of Arts and Sciences, and all majors that I encourage you all to check out if those are things that you're interested in as well. Now, moving on, I do want to talk a little bit about our School of Nursing. As the name suggests, our School of Nursing is home to our nursing program, which is one of the top-rated nursing programs in the Southeast and attracts prospective nursing students not only from across North Carolina, but across the Southeast as well. Now, the School of Nursing and our nursing program specifically is going to be our second most popular major here at UNC Greensboro, and it is actually going to be our most competitive major. Now, one of the reasons for that is because it is such a high-rated nursing program, but it's also because we have a limited number of space currently for our nursing students, but that is about to change because we are growing our nursing program, and we are actually incorporating a brand new high-tech simulated lab facility here on campus. As I said, it is a 4-story simulated lab facility, and it has all of the same equipment and technology that you would find in a regular hospital setting, including high-tech test dummies that exhibit all of the same symptoms as a normal patient. So our nursing students can actually get hands-on experience with those before transitioning to one of our partner hospitals in the Greensboro area to get clinical hours before graduating with their BSN or their Bachelor's of Science in Nursing and graduating as a registered nurse or an RN. And last but not least, I do want to talk a little bit about our School of Education. So our School of Education is also tethered and deeply rooted in UNC Greensboro's history, as we were originally founded as an institution that was graduating future educators. Now, within our School of Education, you have the opportunity to major in everything from elementary education, middle grades education, special education, information science and library science, and our unique major, professions in deafness. Now, if you want to teach at the high school level, what you would do is you would major in one of our subjects here in the College of Arts and Sciences. So for example, if you wanted to be a history teacher, you would graduate with your bachelor's degree in history, and you would also combine that with our education licensure track so that you could graduate as an expert in your field, ready to teach the future Spartans of America. Now, before we transition into the next slide, I did want to briefly talk a little bit about our 9 pre-professional programs. So our pre-professional programs are pathways that you can combine with your major of choice. So they're not majors themselves, but they're more like blueprints or frameworks within which you can fit your major in other courses and minors that you're interested in taking as well. So for example, if you are interested in going on to medical school after graduating from UNC Greensboro, you would be interested in being a student on the pre-med pre-professional pathway. So what you would do is you would combine that pre-med pre-professional pathway with your major of choice. Now, it could be biology, biotechnology, biochemistry, chemistry, but it can really be whatever major that you're most passionate about, because our pre-med pathway is going to make sure that regardless of major, you're taking all of the prerequisite courses that you need in order to be successful when taking the MCAT and transitioning smoothly into a med school after graduation. Now, as a student in the pre-professional program, you're going to have an academic advisor for your major, but you're also going to have an academic advisor for your pre-professional program. So for example, if you were majoring in music and you were a pre-law student, you would have an academic advisor from our College of Visual and Performing Arts, but you would also have an academic advisor that works exclusively with our pre-law students, making sure they're doing everything they need to do to be successful when taking the LSAT, applying to law schools, getting admitted to law schools, and eventually transitioning into those postgraduate institutions. So if you check out this map here, North Carolinians out there, you're probably familiar with this map, but for anyone who lives outside of North Carolina, one of the things I want you to know about the state is that we are very geographically diverse. We have everything from mountains to beaches in a central Piedmont Triad area, which is where Greensboro is located. So if you look down on the map, you'll see Spiro, one of our mascots here at UNC Greensboro, and our mascot for a lot of our social and athletic activities and events. Spiro on this map is going to be located exactly where Greensboro is located, so you'll see we're near equidistant from the beach and the mountains. And this is actually the slide where I love to point out the fact that here at UNC Greensboro, we do allow students to bring cars all 4 years that they're here at UNCG. That's just one of the ways that we found that we can make our students feel more comfortable here on campus and give our students a little bit more freedom that comes with adulthood and pursuing higher education. And it gives our students the opportunity to really explore the diverse landscapes that the state of North Carolina has to offer, whether that's taking fall break trips to the mountains, spring break trips to the beach, or just visiting friends at other institutions around the state. Now, I also want to point out that UNC Greensboro is one of the most diverse schools in the UNC system. We have students from 78 different countries around the world and 46 different states across the US. Now, in addition to all of that, I did mention that we are located in Greensboro, and many of you probably are familiar with Greensboro, but for those who are not, I do want to point out that Greensboro is the third largest city in North Carolina behind Charlotte and Raleigh, but I like to think of Greensboro as having the best of both worlds. So students living in Greensboro have access to all of the big city amenities that you would find in larger cities like Charlotte or Raleigh, such as all of your favorite restaurants, shops, and boutiques, but you also get all of these offerings in a small college town feel. So Greensboro is large and very spread out, but UNC Greensboro specifically is located in the heart of Greensboro and is surrounded by tons of shops and tons of different events and offerings that truly make it feel like it's its own unique space outside of the city. Now, keeping in line with that, we are a mile from downtown, and there are tons of stuff to do, or there are tons of things to do downtown, but don't just take my word for it. I actually want to pass the floor over to one of our Spartan guides so that they can talk a little bit about what it's been like for them living in Greensboro so far and some of the cool, unique, and exciting things that you have to look forward to when you're a Spartan.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, we always have things going on campus, but let's be real, sometimes we want to distance ourselves from the educational environment and just get away for the weekend or just a day trip. And downtown is a really great place to go and do this. I will say it is within walking distance, so if you want to walk there, that's totally fine. But if you don't want to walk, we also have transportation that will take you there. And this is our HEAT bus. It's Higher Education Area Transit, but HEAT is just a little bit easier to remember. And there's an app that you can use on your phone to see when it's going to be coming to and from campus. And as long as you have your Spartan card, you're good to go. It is free and reliable transportation throughout the entire day. And downtown really is one of my favorite places to go. And I think the most important part, in my opinion, is the food. There are so many amazing restaurants. And my personal favorite is Dame's Chicken and Waffles. And what's really cool about this restaurant is it was actually founded by a UNCG alumni. So not only do you get to have some really awesome food, you can also support the UNCG community as well at the same time. There's also a ton of awesome events that happen downtown. For example, my personal favorite is the Folk Festival that I got to go to last year. It was absolutely amazing. They had a lot of performers that came from different countries. So I actually got to see some dancers from China, and I got to see an opera singer from Spain, which was super cool because I actually got to study abroad in Spain. So I fell in love with Spanish in general. And being able to take my interest and kind of reflect it to the extracurricular life that happens downtown was super cool. We also have a bunch of thrift shops, museums, pretty much anything that you could think of. And we also do have a partnership with LeBauer Park where they do outdoor movie nights. So this would be in like the warmer months. So like maybe in like August, September, that kind of thing. And then they show a family-friendly movie outside in LeBauer Park. So it'd be like Pixar, DreamWorks, Disney, that kind of thing. And honestly, downtown is just a great place to go. If you just want to explore a little bit, see the shops that they have in the museums, there's really something always going on down there. And it's definitely one of my favorite places to go. So if you're looking for a way to get connected with the community, downtown is a great place to get started.
Absolutely. And I agree with everything that Isabella said. And that's coming from someone who also lives around the Greensboro area. Now, in addition to all of that, we have tons of events going on year round in the Greensboro area. We have our Greensboro Coliseum. We have some outdoor amphitheaters. And we also have our brand new Tanger Performing Arts Center, which is an off-Broadway tour stop. It's the Greensboro equivalent of the Blumenthal or DPAC. And it hosts shows such as Come From Away, Dear Evan Hansen, Beautiful, the Carole King musical, Mean Girls, the musical, and classics like Wicked. So if that's something you're interested in, that's deeply rooted in our identity here at UNC Greensboro as having a strong College of Visual and Performing Arts. And so I highly encourage you to check that out if that's something you're interested in. And I would be remiss if I also didn't point out that Greensboro is the home of the International Civil Rights Museum, which is actually where the lunch counter sit-in took place at the Woolsworth in Greensboro. So we are deeply rooted in history there as well. So I encourage you, if you're just driving through Greensboro, or hopefully if you're coming to check out our campus in person, that you'll take a pit stop there and see all the great things that that venue has to offer. So no matter how you look at it, how you measure it, we are a school of diversity. We are one of the most diverse schools in the UNC system, but we are also a school of equity and a school of inclusivity. And what I always like to tell students considering UNC Greensboro is, no matter what it is you're interested in, what background you come from, what ideological background you come from, or how you identify, there's always a space and there's always a place for you here at UNC Greensboro to be your true, authentic self. But don't just take my word for it. Again, I'm going to pass the floor back over to one of our Spartan guides, and hopefully they can talk to you a little bit about what their experience with diversity has been like here at UNC Greensboro, and how that's affected their social life here at UNCG, but how that's also affected their academic life as well.
Yeah, that's 100% true. UNCG is definitely a place for everyone. My first experience with this was actually going to the international festival we have at UNCG, and that's actually where I saw the folkloric dance happening, and that's actually why I decided to join the club, which is really neat. And during iFest, there's food for all around the world, which is personally my favorite part because you can try different fruits and everywhere. It's delicious. We also have an office at intercultural engagement. So if you're looking for a specific event or a place to go, you can go there. They give events such as Civil Rights Pilgrimage, House of Oppression. They celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. So if you're looking for a particular event, you should definitely check it out in that office. And overall, the diversity aspect really helped me with my social life here because through the club I joined, I actually met my roommates that I live with now, and we're actually really good friends. So I would definitely just put yourself out there and go to events and things you want to go to because UNCG is definitely a place for everyone.
Yeah, and I'm going to hop in here and talk a little bit about some of the clubs and organizations that we have on campus, just to make everyone feel comfortable. There really is something for everyone. And I do want to say that we have 250 plus clubs, so there's a lot of them. This ranges anything from the a cappella club to the napping club. So if you're a big napper, there's literally a club that reflects that for you, which is super awesome. But if for some reason out of all of these, there's not one you see that you like, you can actually create your own club, and all you need is a couple friends and a faculty member to back you on that, and you're good to go. I also want to focus a little bit on our service-oriented clubs as well, because those are super important, and service really is the motto at UNCG. 80% of our students are involved in some type of community service, and we are federally recognized for our commitment to service. So we take it very seriously. And when I introduced myself, I mentioned that I'm a part of the Silver Leadership Challenge. There's actually 3 levels to that. There's the bronze, the silver, and the gold, and each of them focuses on a different area of leadership. It really helps you to understand your strengths and weaknesses as a leader and how to overcome those. And I definitely feel like this has prepared me more in like a professional aspect as well. And at the end of each of these levels, you actually get a medallion that you get to wear at graduation. And honestly, I think that UNCG is really good about taking your own interest and reflecting it with your community service. So my service project was actually with the Center for New North Carolinians, where I was actually able to use my Spanish because it's for students who are refugees. They came from different countries. And a center that I was involved with specifically was for Spanish-speaking students and parents. So I was able to kind of better myself academically while still helping the community. And I think that UNCG is really great about matching your interest with service in the community. So definitely get involved with service at the university. We do take it very seriously, and I think it's a very rewarding experience. And speaking of getting involved, we do have a lot of sports games on and off campus. So on campus would be like our women's soccer, women's basketball, tennis, that kind of thing. But for our men's basketball team, they actually will play their games in the Greensboro Coliseum. And we do have shuttles that go back and forth throughout the entire game. And it is free for you to get in and to have that transportation back and forth. And if you're like me and you have a really busy schedule, that's completely understandable. If you're studying for an exam, you could literally just go for half of the game. You could go for the halftime show, really whatever works for you, because those buses do go back and forth the entire time. So it kind of caters to your schedule, which is really nice. I will say that the energy in the Coliseum is absolutely amazing. We have our pep band, we have our cheerleaders, we have our dance team, and really you can just feel how excited everyone is to be there and to support the Spartans. And I will say that we have some really awesome merch that they hand out as well. This could range anything from a t-shirt to a hat to a little blow up basketball to even bigger things like a free semester of tuition, concert tickets, spring break trip, anything like that. So even if you're not a huge sports fan, you can literally just go for the halftime show and see if your name gets picked out of the hat. And you could really get a free semester of tuition just for going to a basketball game. But regardless, I think it really is a really great way of getting involved and supporting the Spartans. And like I said, it's super accessible for everyone. And it really is so much fun. So I definitely recommend getting involved in the athletics.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Isabella. And before I continue, I just wanted to remind everyone that you are able to text us your questions during this session. While I will not answer questions immediately, we are going to be holding them all until the end, and then we are going to offer you a Q&A session. So for those of you who are just joining us for the video session, do note that that texting number is going to be going up periodically throughout the presentation. All you need to do is text your question, and you'll either get a response texted back to you immediately, or we will answer that question live on air for all of our viewers to hear. So moving on, look, we know that you're coming to UNC Greensboro because we have tons of awesome activities, clubs, and organizations on campus, and tons of ways for you to get involved socially and meet new people and do some awesome things. But we also know that you're coming here because you're pursuing your career goals, your passions, and we know that you're coming here because of our academic excellence. Now, our professors here at UNC Greensboro are going to push you in ways that you've probably never been pushed before, and they're actually going to challenge you to go above and beyond, and they're really going to help motivate you to do some great things, not only here at UNC Greensboro, but in the world once you graduate. And we really are going to set you up for your best possible success. So how does that work here at UNCG? Well, we have a few things that help build our academic excellence and help us stand apart from some other institutions. So for example, we have smaller class sizes. If you recall, I said we had a median class size of 27. Now, your general education courses or your entry-level courses are going to be a little bit larger, and they're going to be closer to that 27 number, if not slightly bigger. But once you get to your major-specific courses, specifically your upper-level major-specific courses, you can have class sizes as small as 7 or 8 students. So you're really having a small, intimate classroom setting. And in addition to having a small, intimate classroom setting, you're really getting one-on-one experience with senior faculty members. Now, when we talk about senior faculty members, we're talking about professors who have 10 plus years of experience under their belt, a wealth of knowledge, and a broad social and professional network that you can tap into when you're looking for research opportunities internship opportunities, or even career opportunities after you graduate from UNCG. So you're getting access to these professors, you're getting one-on-one interactions with these professors in small classroom settings. So do note that despite being a mid to larger tier institution, you're not just a number and you're not just a face in the crowd, but you really are a unique individual who's getting hands-on attention. Now, I'm actually going to pass things back over to our Spartan guides here, and I'm going to let them talk a little bit about what they've experienced in the classroom setting, some of the cool things that they're doing academically, and some of the things that you can expect when you come to UNC Greensboro.
Yeah, so our average class size is 27 students with the student to faculty ratio of 20:1. We do have those big lecture halls that are 100 plus students. That's has your Bio 101, your Chemistry 101. And for those, we actually have a program called the Supplementary Instruction Program, or SIP for short. And basically that's when a student that's already taken the course and excelled in the course retakes the course. Then while they retake the course, they host out of class study sessions for students that are struggling. And a lot of students find this really nice just because it's kind of dreadful if you go to the professor in front of everyone and ask for help. But with this, you can just ask a peer, and people seem like it works better for them and they feel more comfortable. We also have tutoring. We have 2 free tutoring sessions per semester, and all you have to do is sign up for them. We also have a writing center and speaking center. With those centers, they'll help you write your essay. They'll help you with any speeches. If you have trouble like in front of people, stage fright, they'll help you with that too. And some professors even give you extra credit for just going to the centers. So I really recommend you just go. We also lastly have office hours. All professors are required to have office hours. So I would use that time to really just speak with your professors, because you never know when they can give you your next job, your next internship, your next recommendation letter. So I would really utilize that time to just make connections with senior faculty members.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Karen. And one thing I did want to point out is that here at UNC Greensboro, one of the things that makes us unique from some other larger institutions outside of senior faculty instruction is the fact that a majority of your classes are actually going to be taught by these faculty members that Karen's talking about here. So unlike some other larger institutions where your courses are probably going to be taught by graduate students or teaching assistants, our professors here at UNC Greensboro are challenged and charged with being educators first and then researchers second. Which is actually a great segue into talking a little bit about research here at UNC Greensboro. Another thing that makes UNCG a little unique is that we actually offer undergraduate research. Now, at a lot of institutions, you're not able to participate in research until you are working on your graduate degree or your PhD. But here at UNCG, not only do we offer opportunities for undergraduate research, we actually encourage students to get involved with undergraduate research as early as possible. Now, I know Karen has been exposed to a little bit of research. I didn't know, Karen, if you wanted to talk a little bit more about your research experience and go a little bit more in depth on that, but if you would like to, now would be a great time to hear about that.
So I actually had to do undergrad research for I was part of a residential college, and for the last year of it, it's a 2-year program, we had to do a capstone project. And what I really liked about this is we could pick whatever we want. And I was particularly passionate about sleep and why college students don't sleep, and instead they use all these energy drinks. So I did a whole 5 months of research, and I actually got it published on the Minerva magazine at school, and I got to present my research on an expo with other undergraduate students showing their stuff. So it was really neat to share my research, and it was really neat to see their research done. And it's really cool to just see it on a magazine as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Karen, for sharing that experience with us. And this is just an example of the types of research experiences that you'll have access to once you're a student here at UNCG. Now, there are a lot of ways to grow within the classroom setting, growing academically, but there are also ways for you to grow outside of the classroom. So now I'm going to go over a couple of extracurricular opportunities that are going to give you an opportunity to go a step beyond. And I want to start on the right-hand side of the slide and work our way left. So I want to start by talking a little bit about study abroad. So we do have partner institutions around the world in 6 of the 7 different continents across the world. So unfortunately, if your dream was to study abroad in Antarctica, we are not going to be able to help you with that as easily, but I would be willing to bet that most institutions are not. But for everyone else, no matter where it is you're interested in learning or studying, you have that opportunity available to you here at UNC Greensboro. Now, about 500 students here at UNCG study abroad every year. And study abroad actually ties into our mission of being an equitable school here at UNCG. So we never want a financial barrier to stand between you and all of the awesome academic and socially beneficial experiences that we have for you here at UNCG. So we've actually worked and managed to bring down the cost of study abroad to about what you would pay for a semester on campus. So what that means is if you are already able to pay for a semester here on campus at UNCG, then you have every opportunity to study abroad as well. And we have professionals here on campus that work with our study abroad students to make sure that they have everything they need taken care of before going to study abroad. And that even comes down to logistics, such as booking flights, finding handlers at other institutions, and everything you could possibly need to have the best experience possible. So now I want to pass this back to our Spartan guides really quickly. I know some of you maybe have had some experiences studying abroad, and I now want to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about what those experiences have been like.
Yeah, absolutely. Studying abroad is literally one of the best things that you can do as an undergraduate student. And I can completely understand if it's a little bit nerve-wracking because I had actually never left the country before I committed to go for 6 months. So there's definitely a little bit of anxiety that comes along with it. But UNCG is so great about matching you with really awesome resources in your country that you're going to be staying in. They're going to help you throughout the entire process. So for example, when I got there, I was automatically assigned a buddy from my university. And she was super awesome. She helped me understand what it was like to live in Spain, what it was like to be a student at that particular university, how to succeed. And honestly, that was a really awesome resource for me. I felt so comfortable and I was able to off the bat go ahead and make a friend. And I do want to say that even if you don't want to be gone for a semester or a full year, we also have summer programs that you can be a part of. And these are typically going to be faculty led. So this is a faculty member that has been to this country a bunch of different times. They know it, they know the language, and they can really help you through the entire process. And you can kind of get that studying abroad feel with it only being like a couple weeks or so. So I definitely think that UNCG is great about making it accessible to everyone, really no matter where you are in your academic experience. They are so good with working with you. For example, when I went abroad, I actually was with another UNCG student who was a last semester senior, and she was still able to go abroad. So even if you think that it's unattainable for you, that's definitely not true. There's a ton of awesome scholarships. And like Stone said, we like to say that if you can afford to come to UNCG, you can afford to study abroad because you're literally just swapping places and exchanging with someone else. So I definitely recommend exploring this. It really changed my life. I feel like it definitely helped with my Spanish as well, kind of being put in the middle of a place where I had to use it everywhere that I was going. And it's a great way to gain a new perspective of different cultures in different countries in the world. So definitely check this out.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Isabella. Moving on, if you want to go a step beyond, but you don't really want to leave the country, or maybe study abroad isn't something that's really on your radar right now, you may want to consider living in a residential college here at UNC Greensboro. So we do have 3 residential colleges. We have Ashby, Strong, and Grogan. Each one of these residential colleges is going to have their own unique focus and mission that is going to appeal to the students living in that residential college. So it'll give you the opportunity to live with other like-minded individuals who are all motivated and passionate about similar things. And you're actually going to have the opportunity to take specific and unique residential college courses that can help satisfy your general education requirements that are going to be unique to your residential college. And you can actually even take those courses within your residential college. And I know Karen was in a residential college, and I know she mentioned it briefly before, but Karen, if you could say a little bit more about what a student might expect from living in a residential college.
So living in a residential college is amazing because you essentially live with the people you take class with. So I found it really neat that I could just be in my dorm. If I need help in an assignment, I know that the girl that sits next to me in class actually lives next to me, and I could just go across the hall, ask for help. So it makes a really good space it's a living and learning space essentially. And it was so nice that actually you have an advisor who lives with you in the residential hall. So you can just go downstairs and you can be like, hey, I need help with this assignment, and they'll be there to help you right there. And it's just so neat to have advisors and people there with you, and you feel super supportive. I recommend highly especially when you're coming in as a freshman, you don't know anyone. This is a great option because you get to live with people, you get to figure out who you kind of are. And I still talk to them to this day. I'm a senior now, but I still have those amazing connections I made my freshman and sophomore year living there. I highly recommend. And the capstone at the end of the program is really neat because you get to explore whatever you want to research. And I think it's really neat because that's when you can really spread out your wings and figure out what you want to do. And I think that's really essential, especially when you're starting in college. You can kind of figure out what you want to do.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I want to talk about is our Lloyd International Honors College. So if you are a student that is not only high ability, but high achieving, and you've actually demonstrated that you thrive in more rigorous courses, and you really want to challenge yourself to go a step beyond academically, then look no further than the Lloyd International Honors College. The Lloyd International Honors College is available to students as they apply to UNC Greensboro. If you meet certain academic thresholds, you will receive automatically an invitation to apply to our Honors College. Even if you don't receive the invitation to apply to the Honors College, you have the opportunity to reach out directly to the Honors College and see what you need to do to self-nominate and self-apply to be a member. The Honors College, like I said, offers opportunities for you to take a more rigorous course load, to graduate with special distinctions upon completion of all the requirements of the Honors College. So you can graduate with special denotations on your diploma and a unique stole for honors students. But you also have the opportunity to participate in activities and games that are designed to develop your soft skills and make you a leader, not only on campus, but a leader in the world once you graduate from UNCG. And Isabella, I know that you are in the Honors College, so quickly, if you had a couple things that maybe you wanted to briefly mention before we move on to our next slide, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have absolutely loved my experience in the Lloyd International Honors College. I think that it is a really awesome opportunity for everyone. And kind of like the same way as the residential colleges, if you choose to stay on the honors housing on campus, you are literally living with the people who you're taking your classes with as well, which is super nice. And I do want to just mention real quick that I think when people think of honors college, they think it's like super challenging and super stressful. And while it does push you a little bit out of your comfort zone and challenge you a little bit more, it is completely manageable with all kinds of other extracurricular activities at the same time. So if you're afraid that you don't have enough time for it, definitely don't feel that way, because they're really great about making sure that you definitely have time for other stuff as well. And you're basically still checking off all of your requirements for your general education credits that you have to take. It just tacks on the honors credit, and you're taking the class with all honor students. And usually it's a really interesting and kind of unique look into the subject. Like, for example, I had to take a history course, and my history was Cicero and the Roman Revolution. And we actually dressed up in togas and did like a Roman debate, which was really cool. So it's really just the credits that you already need to take. It just kind of puts on a little bit of a unique view on that. And I will say the class sizes are even smaller than our average class sizes. Usually it's capped at like 15 students. So you do get a very intimate relationship with your professor. They are very engaging, and I definitely have loved my time in the Honors College. They also, because it is the International Honors College, they also will give you a grant for when you study abroad, because that is a requirement as an honors student. And for me, mine completely covered my plane ticket, and I had a little bit left over. So this is definitely an awesome perk to being an honors student as well. So if you're eligible to apply, please do. It is an awesome experience.
And I just want to go ahead and clarify, thank you again, Isabella, for that information. I did want to clarify that while you are required to study abroad as a member of the Lloyd International Honors College, you are not required to be a member of the Honors College to study abroad. So even if you're not a member of the Honors College, you still have every opportunity to study abroad. Now, we know once you get to UNCG, you're going to fall in love with our campus, and maybe you already have. And you're going to want to stay here as long as possible. And the truth is, you're not going to want to leave. But unfortunately, at some point, your time at UNCG will come to a close. And we just hope that when that time comes around, you look as happy as this student that you see here on this slide. She definitely looks like she enjoyed her time at UNC Greensboro. And we know once you get here, you will too. But one thing I want to point out is that contrary to popular belief, once you graduate, you are still a Spartan. Some people are under the misconception that once you graduate, you're no longer a Spartan, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I always like to tell people that once you're a Spartan for life. And that means that you have the opportunity to come back every year for homecoming and all of the different cool and exciting festivals and activities we have going on campus, but you can even come back and take advantage of some of our campus resources like our Career and Professional Development Center. So our Career and Professional Development Center, while I'm talking about it, offers a lot of opportunities to make sure that students are prepared prior to graduation and they're prepared to be successful when they transition into the next phase of their life. They offer 5 different career fairs every year with over 2,000 different prospective employers, such as some of the ones you see on this screen here, both local, national, and global organizations, companies, and brands. But they also make sure that these students have the opportunity to meet with them, get interviewed on the spot, submit applications and resumes, get interviews, and have the opportunity to get summer internships, summer jobs, and different careers prior to graduation. So all of these companies here come to UNC Greensboro specifically to recruit UNCG students and UNCG graduates. And there are frequently around 119,000 job postings every year that these employers bring specifically to UNC Greensboro. Now, when I said you're a Spartan for life, that's true in that once you've graduated, you still have the opportunity to come back and take advantage of our Career and Professional Development Center. Because at UNC Greensboro, we're not only focused on making sure that you're successful here as a student, but we want to guarantee that you're successful when you graduate and you enter the next stage of your career trajectory here. So at UNCG, we have a couple missions and a couple goals. One, we want you to be inspired by your professors. We want you to find the thing that you're most passionate about and have every opportunity and every avenue available to you in order to pursue those passions. We want you to be a part of a community where you belong. We truly want you to find your own unique space here on campus, and we really want you to feel like you can be your true, authentic self while still thriving socially and academically. But ultimately, we want you to graduate not only having found your passion, but we want you to graduate with passion and prepared to pursue life passionately. And of course, we want you to get your dream job in the career field that you've studied. And we also want you to get a paycheck as well, which is a smooth way to transition into our next slide, where I actually talk a little bit about the value of a UNCG degree. Now, what you can see here on the slide is a breakdown of our total cost of attendance, and you'll see that by tuition, room and board, meal plan. But one thing I want you to take special note of is that the total cost of attendance here at UNCG is below both the state average as well as the national average. So not only are you getting access to some of the best academic programs nationally and globally, you're getting access to these awesome academic offerings at an affordable price point. And that's just one of the reasons why we've been frequently rated as one of the best colleges for your money by Money Magazine, or one of the best colleges in the country by US News and World Report. These are distinctions we've gotten for the past 25 plus consecutive years, and these are distinctions that we intend to receive for years to come. Do take special note that 65% of our first-time, full-time undergraduate students do receive financial aid. Now, in order to be eligible for financial aid, we ask that you do complete your FAFSA or your free application for federal student aid, and we ask that you complete that by our January 15th early action priority deadline. Now, of course, you can submit that as soon as possible, and the FAFSA for this upcoming academic cycle became available on October 1st, so you are able to complete it today, and we encourage you to do it as soon as possible so that once you're admitted and we start sending out aid packages, you can be sure that you can get your aid package, and you can make sure that because you applied early, you can get the most competitive aid package possible. Now, UNCG, acceptance is so much more than just a letter in the mail. It's the key that opens the door to your future here at UNC Greensboro. So you're probably asking yourselves, what do I need to do in order to be admissible to UNCG? Well, first I want to let you know not to be deterred by the numbers that you see here on the bottom of the screen. All of these numbers are averages, so we do admit students 20% above and below these numbers. So when you see a 3.74 GPA, do note that that number is informed by some of the highest GPAs from students that we've admitted. So even if you're a little bit below that 3.7 threshold, we still want you to apply because we do use a holistic application process, and we look at more than just your grades. We look at who you are as an individual. We look at extracurriculars that you've taken, community service, sports, clubs, involvement in religious and faith-based organizations, and everything in between. So please include everything you can on your application, because I like to remind students, we only know as much about you as you put on your application, and we are looking for every opportunity to really figure out what it is that makes you unique. Additionally, I want to let you know that we are not requiring test scores this year. So the test scores you see below were our averages, but they are not required for admission. You do not need to submit test scores to be reviewed. However, if you do have great test scores that you're proud of and you want to submit, by all means, you have every opportunity to submit those. We will use those test scores if they help your application, but only if they help your application. We will never use test scores to hurt a student. And that ties into our overall goal of trying to be a school of opportunity. And we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to have access to these top tier academic programs at an affordable price point, regardless of what your background is. And so we're looking for every opportunity to admit a student. We just want to make sure that you're academically prepared to succeed when you get here, and that you are going to be successful once you become a Spartan. So regardless of what your journey looks like from getting to where you are currently to UNC Greensboro, we have tons of counselors available to assist you with that, no matter what your unique stepping stones look like to getting here. And that's true for both first-year students and transfer students alike. And I believe our 68% admit rate speaks highly to that point. Now, we've talked about a lot of the cool and exciting things that we have here at UNC Greensboro, and a lot of the academic opportunities that you'll have available to you. So you're probably wondering, awesome, it all sounds great. Where do I sign up? Right? So if you want to apply to UNC Greensboro, all you need to do is apply online and submit an application either through Common App, CFNC, or through our own unique web application through our Spartan Link portal, which you can find at uncg.edu. There's a $65 waivable application fee. In addition to that, we do not require official test scores this year. However, we do require official transcripts, and do be sure that you submit transcripts for any dual enrollment credits that you may have received at your local community college, so that we can make sure that when you come to UNCG, you have all of those credits applied to your transcripts after you get here. And of course, that's going to be for first-year students. For transfer students, we're looking for you to have 24 completed credit hours at a community college or another institution that is accredited. And we just want to make sure that you are maintaining a C average or better in those courses, and that you are prepared to continue to do well and be successful here at UNC Greensboro once you transfer over. Now, I also want to point out we do have an optional essay that is available for students who want to talk a little bit more about some of the things that make you unique, any hardships that you've overcome, or just why you're really passionate about UNC Greensboro and how a UNCG degree can help you reach your academic and professional goals. So on this slide, you'll see our deadlines. These are going to be deadlines for first-year students and transfer students for both fall and spring semesters. Do take special note that we have our Priority Decision 1 and Priority Decision 2 deadlines, December 1st and January 15th. If you want to be considered for merit-based scholarships, you will need to apply by January 15th. Both of these are priority decision deadlines, with the only distinction being that if you apply by December 1st, you're guaranteed to get your decision back by the end of January. Of course, we have our regular decision deadline of March 1st, and then after March 1st, we will be looking at students on a case-by-case basis and admitting based on space availability until July 15th. And for transfer students, of course, you'll see your regular decision deadline for fall of March 1st, and then your regular decision deadline for spring for both first year and transfer students is going to be December 1. Now, I know I can be a little long-winded, and I probably gave you way more information than you probably asked for, but I know this is information that is going to be beneficial to you, and I know a lot of it's information and answers to questions you probably didn't know to ask, but again, I just want to thank you for being here and spending time with us and learning a little bit more about UNC Greensboro. And as promised, we are now going to transition over to the Q&A portion of our session today, so that we can answer any burning questions that you may still have about UNCG. And so we are again joined by Karen and Isabella, two of our Spartan guides. And so without further ado, let's ask some of these questions. So the first question I have is for Isabella. So Isabella, one of our prospective students is wondering what opportunities there are for them to build leadership skills on campus, to develop their soft skills. And if you could, maybe you can highlight some of these leadership programs and maybe any leadership programs that you've been involved in personally.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are so many awesome leadership programs that you can be a part of. As I mentioned when I was talking about leadership organizations, the one that sticks out the most in my head are the 3 levels of the leadership challenge: the bronze, the silver, and the gold. And like I said, it focuses on different areas of leadership for each of them. So the first one is figuring out what it is to be a leader. So you sit in workshops and you figure out what the skills that you would need to have to be a leader. And then in the second program, which is the silver leadership challenge, that's where you start to learn about yourself as a leader. So the first is what is a leader, and then the second is how am I going to be a leader and be the best leader that I possibly can. This is when you start to focus on those strengths and weaknesses. And you also have a counselor that is assigned to you. You will meet with them monthly, and they can kind of help you overcome those weaknesses, emphasize your strengths, which is honestly super awesome. And then the last level, which is the gold, is where you take all of that and then you apply it to an organization on campus or off campus, and you do a service project with them. Honestly, I think these 3 levels are one of the best ways that you can kind of discover who you are as a leader and start to implement that into your experience at UNCG. I also had the awesome opportunity to be a peer academic leader, which I think was an awesome leadership opportunity as well. I was actually put in a class with all international students. So I was able to get kind of that diversity that we were also talking about before, when Stone said that they come from a lot of different countries throughout the world. I was able to see that firsthand and kind of show them what it's like to be a UNCG student, because as a peer academic leader, you're basically like a teacher's assistant for incoming first-year students. And it's the first year experience class. So basically it's like college 101, where you're teaching them the resources that we have on campus, different leadership programs, basically all the fun stuff that happens on campus and the resources that are available to them, so that they know who they can go to if they're struggling throughout their process, which I thought was especially important for international students. And I learned a lot from them as well, just from their different perspectives from around the world. And I think that really helps me to grow as a leader and to be more comfortable going out of my comfort zone and speaking in front of people in general too. I think that I've gotten a lot more comfortable with that because of my experience as a peer academic leader. So that's just a few examples. I mean, there's so many other ones. Like, for example, when I said you can start your own club, I mean, that's leadership in itself, is being the founder of a club. That's super cool. So, I mean, really, however you want to play it out in your college experience, I think UNCG has amazing resources to help you get started and implement that in your college experience.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Isabella. And actually, our next question is going to be for Karen. So, Karen, one of our prospective students is very interested in living on campus, but they're wondering, they want to know a little bit more about campus life and specifically what campus is like on the weekend. So if you could talk a little bit about that, I know they would greatly appreciate it.
So campus life is very eventful. Like, I lived in a residential college, and RAs are required to do events. So no matter where you live on campus, there's going to be a RA in your hall and they're going to do events for you. I know my RA is leaving gift bags in our front door just because it is finals week and he wants us to relax. I know some RAs for Valentine's Day, they throw a little party with cupcakes, snacks. So there's always going to be something. And for the weekends, RAs sometimes do something. I know my RA is doing Zoom movies. So you can join a Zoom with them and he can watch a movie. They do trivia games through Zoom too. So there's always something going on, even on the weekends. I know with COVID, things have gone down, but RAs still find ways to interact with us even through Zoom or 6 feet apart. We also have a lot of CAP events that are thrown, which is campus events program. So they're required to do events on campus. We have therapy dogs sometimes for midterms weeks. We had a pony once. We have just a ton of events here, and you can look online to see where they are or what time they are. So you'll never go bored here at UNCG because there's events everywhere.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that's not just limited to the weekends. There are tons of activities going on throughout the week as well. So how about we do a fun question? So what are some of your favorite UNCG traditions? And this is open to either of you.
I can go ahead and say something. So actually, for me, my favorite thing is the luminaries, which actually we put out during reading day, which is basically after the last day of class, where everyone's like cramming for their exams, because right after reading day is the first day of exams. So you can kind of feel like how chill the campus is because everyone's studying. But we actually set up like all these little lanterns outside. And every year I actually like to go out and just like take a walk and go and look at everything. And usually when it's like the fall semester, it's also when they put up the Christmas decorations. So I just go out and take a walk, look at the luminaries, see like the little lights that they put up on campus and everything. And I think it's a way that really like clears my mind before going and sitting down and starting all my exams. So that's personally my favorite. I think it's a really fun tradition.
Yeah, Karen, maybe you could say something about our rock and rock, or about our clock or Minerva, or some of our traditions here.
Yes. So we have a famous rock and a clock. And with the clock is no one walks underneath it, because if you do, you will not graduate. So if you come on campus on a campus tour, just visiting, you'll notice that everyone just stays clear of the clock because no one wants to be underneath it because it's bad luck. And then right next to the clock is the rock. And our rock is kind of our billboard on campus. So if it's your friend's birthday, you can paint the rock, say happy birthday to your roommate. And then there's two tiny rocks next to the big rock. And that's where you put the time and date. There is this rule though, your message can stay on there for 24 hours, because after that, someone's allowed to paint right over it and put their own message up there. There's been some crazy messages. I know someone's had a marriage proposal on it. So that's a really popular one. So if you want to celebrate your friend's birthday, or you just have a really cool message, or you want to just promote your club, I would definitely recommend for you to just paint the rock, because everyone will see it.
Yeah, and a little bit about the clock. It only works one way. So we had somebody in one of our previous live streams ask, if they climb over the clock, can they graduate early? No, just don't walk under the clock, and please do not try to scale it. So let's move on to another question from one of our viewers. So Isabella, let's see. One of our students wants to know a little bit more about the Honors College. I know you spoke in depth, but for all of our viewers who maybe are just joining us, or who maybe missed that portion of the presentation, if you could go ahead and reiterate some of the things that you said about Lloyd International Honors College and some of the unique things that students can experience as a member of that college.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned before, the Honors College is such an awesome experience, and I have absolutely loved every second of being a part of it. The most important part to me has been the studying abroad aspect, because I knew that that was something that I wanted to do. Throughout high school, I always knew that I wanted to study abroad. And the Honors College definitely made that a little bit more accessible to me because of the grant that they give you for studying abroad. And then also with the international aspect, you are also required to become fluent in a different language. So this could be anything from American Sign Language to Spanish to Chinese to pretty much anything else. And this was also something that interested me because I'm really interested in Spanish. So having that as my minor kind of reflected perfectly with the Honors College. And I will say, I mentioned this before, but for anyone who didn't hear it, when people think Honors College, they think that it's going to be like super rigorous. It takes up all of your time. It's super stressful. And that could not be more far from what is actually true. Honestly, it is a really awesome experience because the professors are just so devoted to making sure that you're understanding the material and engaging in it. And you are checking off all of your general education credits. So, your English credits, your science credits, that kind of thing. And the one that I took was for a history course, and it was Cicero and the Roman Revolution, where we got to dress up in togas and kind of do like a debate as like a Roman Senate, which was super cool. So it really is like just checking off all your requirements, but it does give you kind of more of a unique perspective on those classes. And as I mentioned before, the class sizes are really small too. Usually it's like no more than 15 students. So you really do get a very intimate relationship with your professor, and that could lead to job opportunities, research opportunities, letters of recommendation. So I think that the Lloyd International Honors College gives you access to so many awesome resources, like studying abroad, like having those smaller relationships. And the on-campus housing is really awesome too, just being able to live with people that you are taking your classes with as well. I definitely think that this is a great opportunity for anyone who is eligible to apply.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I want to point out is that here at UNCG, we love parent engagement. And we do see that some parents are actually sending in some questions now. We know parents, you have a huge role to play when students are looking at different colleges. So if you have any questions, by all means, please send those questions to us as well. We would be more than happy to answer those for you. But let's see, one parent is asking if we could talk a little bit more about scholarship opportunities. So that is definitely a question that I'm happy to take. So before I mentioned that we have a January 15th priority FAFSA filing deadline. So we definitely want you, if you're interested in financial aid, we definitely ask that you submit your FAFSA before that January 15th deadline. However, we also offer merit-based scholarships through our office. Now, there are tons of scholarships, both third-party, departmental, scholarships through the financial aid office. The scholarships that are specifically through the Office of Undergraduate Admissions are going to be our merit-based scholarships. And those are available to students who submit their application before January 15th. So what that means is rather than having to apply for scholarships separately, we've streamlined the scholarship process to make it easier for your students to apply and be considered for the scholarships that we have available. Now, our merit-based scholarships are a wide range of different scholarships with different criteria and different specific requirements. So what we do is we go through and we look for students who meet those requirements and we nominate them for those scholarships. And then they go to our scholarship committee. But regardless of a student, as long as you apply by January 15th, you will be considered. And there are tons of different diverse merit scholarships available for your students to be considered for. So if there's anything you take away from that, just note January 15th, very important date. I ask that you all please apply by then and get your FAFSA submitted by then so that you can be considered for those scholarship opportunities. Now, we have had several viewers ask questions about how the pandemic has affected UNC Greensboro. And I know these are questions that you're asking every school that you hear from. One thing that I want to point out first and foremost is that we are still on campus. So unlike some other institutions that have unfortunately had to send students home or go entirely virtual, we have actually been able to successfully have on-campus courses, and we do that through a combination of on-campus, virtual, and hybrid models. And so we do have, albeit looking a little bit different than what normal campus looks like, our campus is as close to normal as it possibly can be. We have had less than 250 COVID cases across campus. And so that's something that we're super proud of. And that just speaks to the type of students that we have here at UNC Greensboro. So a lot of our students are mature and responsible students who are really vested in the interests of the campus overall and are willing to do everything they need to do to make sure that their fellow students and faculty members are as safe as possible. And we really owe it all to them for helping us to be able to remain open because they do such a phenomenal job of being safe and socially distanced. And to speak to our classroom settings a little bit, our classrooms that are in person are all 6 feet apart in seating in those classrooms. And so we've really managed to maintain as safe an academic atmosphere in person as humanly possible. And after each classroom, our custodial staff, who are the unsung heroes of our campus, do a phenomenal job of disinfecting every single classroom in between each class so that students can have peace of mind knowing that when they come in and sit down for instruction, that they are in as safe of an environment as humanly possible. Now, we are also offering on-campus tours as well. So in addition to this virtual presentation that you're getting and the virtual tours that we offer Monday through Friday, we also offer campus tours every day, Monday through Friday, every 30 minutes rotating. And these are going to be individualized, personalized tours for individual students and 2 guests. So you can come with your friends, or many students come with a parent or guardian or family member who come with them. And so you're able to really get that true on-campus physical personal tour experience, and you're able to get that unique to you and your family alongside one of our Spartan guides. So I encourage you all, if you really do want to come visit campus, UNC Greensboro, we are offering those, and we're offering them as safely as possible so you can have some peace of mind when you come to our beautiful campus here. Now, Isabella, could you share how UNCG has changed the way that classes are offered? I know I mentioned a little bit how classes are socially distanced, but maybe you can speak to what your experience is like, and we maybe even will ask Karen to talk a little bit about her experiences as well.
Yeah, sure. So for me, all of my classes are actually virtual at this point. Just because there was a last minute change with one of the professors, and she's immunocompromised, so she decided to switch hers online. So all of mine have been online. However, they are still synchronous. So that means that basically I am still getting the class time. It's just virtual. So the professors typically will come up and they'll share a PowerPoint, and it'll be at the same time. So Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 10:45, we still all meet as a class. Attendance is still mandatory. So you're still getting that engagement. It's honestly very, very similar, except for the fact that it's just on a computer. So for me, honestly, it hasn't been like a huge adjustment, just because it is so accessible to be able to do everything virtually. Same thing with office hours. You are still completely welcome to go to virtual office hours. Those don't change. They're still held virtually and weekly. So basically they'll just send out the Zoom link. It'll be like in the Canvas page, and you can just hop in office hours how you would in person as well. So for me, honestly, it hasn't been a huge adjustment, just because they are so good about making sure that they're giving you as close to the normal experience as they possibly can. And I do have friends who also have hybrid courses. So that's where they do like one day on the computer and then one day in person. And I think they split the class in half. So they're like switched off. So if half of the class is in person, half of the class is going to be on the Zoom call. That way that they're keeping the numbers appropriate to the CDC guidelines and everything like that. I can personally say that I feel 100% safe being on this campus. I think that everyone has been very devoted to the overall health of our university, which is honestly so great to see, and not necessarily surprising, because this is definitely what you would expect of the Spartans, just because we do live as a community. And like, I don't think there's been one instance where I've seen people not wearing masks. Like they wear it, like literally even walking outside on campus, because everyone's really considerate about other people's health. So I can definitely say that we have been handling it really well. And I only have positive things to say about my academic experience.
Awesome. And I will point out that we are getting a little pressed for time, but I want to make sure we get as many questions answered as possible. So why don't we all just try to power through a few more and see how many we can get done with what little time we have left. So Karen, could you please share what housing has been like, and how frequently are the dorms cleaned, and what precautions are being taken to make sure that students who are living on campus are as safe as they possibly can be?
I currently live in the apartments, and they're frequently cleaned. Every time I go to the laundry room, there's someone there cleaning it. Every time I go to the trash chute, everybody, like someone's always in there cleaning it. And it's just amazing. And we do have fire drills, and RAs bring masks just in case someone forgets, but no one ever forgets to wear their mask. I wear my mask everywhere, even when I leave my apartment to throw away my trash. I'm wearing a mask. Even if I go get my laundry, I'm wearing a mask. And so is everyone else. Everyone has just been really keen on just wearing their mask. Even if they're just going around the corner, I've seen no one without a mask. And RAs are really good about it. And sometimes RAs even leave us masks on our doors just in case they have leftover. And there's like spots on campus where you can get masks. And it's just really proactive, I think. Even on campus, they're doing asymptomatic testing, even if you don't have symptoms. So I will say UNCG is really proactive when it comes to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of face coverings on campus, and we even have some face coverings with unique UNCG prints. So if you really want to rep that Spartan pride, I encourage you to check those out. And you'll be the coolest student in your school currently if you rock one of those. I can guarantee that. Lastly, we have a question asking if we're going to have on-campus in-person classes in the spring, and the answer is yes, because we are currently offering those now. So again, that's one of the things that I think just makes UNCG unique and special, and really speaks volumes to our student body overall, and how caring and considerate they are, is that we've been able to stay open all semester, not just open, but stay open, offer classes in those hands-on lab environments where really a virtual session just won't cut it. So we've been able to offer students interested in like the STEM majors as well, that have really hands-on curriculums to be able to come on campus for those. So, you know I can be long-winded, and I often lose track of time when talking about UNC Greensboro, because honestly, there's just so much awesome stuff, and we only covered a fraction of it today. And I just can't believe how fast time has actually flown by. We have one final question for each one of our students, and this one's going to be a little bit more open-ended, but really keep it authentic to yourself, and it's going to tie into our overall slogan here at UNCG. But I need to know, and our viewers would like to know as well, how each of you managed to find your way here.
I'll go ahead and start off. So I like to say that the person that I was in high school and the person that I am almost 4 years into my UNCG experience are two completely different people in the best possible way. And that's because in high school, I was really reserved. I didn't step outside of my comfort zone. And I absolutely saw myself as more of a follower than a leader. And that has been a complete 180 since I have been at UNCG. I think that I feel so much more confident as a leader, and like having that experience now being a leader, I can help other people find their way and encourage them to be leaders as well. I think that's because I just had such a strong support network with all of my professors being in the honors college. I think they saw potential in me, potential that I didn't even know that I had. So them telling me like, hey, I see awesome leadership qualities in you, really encouraged me to seek out those experiences. And having had those experiences at this point have completely changed me. And I know that these are skills that not only are helping me in my undergraduate experience, but are going to help me throughout the rest of my life. If I'm going to grad school, once I'm finally getting a career, I know that these are skills that I'm going to take with me. And I could not be more thankful to UNCG for giving me this awesome skill set that I know is going to help me succeed in life.
Awesome, thanks. And Karen?
I had a very similar experience to Isabella. In high school, I was more of a follower. I joined clubs. I wasn't presidents of clubs. And as soon as I got to UNCG, I felt really comfortable. I started my leadership experience in the residential college. That's where I was just part of the membership committee. But then doing small activities and having leadership roles in that small committee made me want to do something in the bigger scale. So then I became an orientation leader and helping students transition. Then I became a peer academic leader helping students transition. I just fell in love with just helping students, and now I'm a tour guide and I just love every second of it. And I think that really helped me boost my confidence so much. And those connections I made definitely helped me, and it will continue to help me as my career is going after I graduate from UNCG. And I can honestly say these leadership skills I've gathered throughout the years has helped me get a job after graduation. I got it last week, and I could just say that this helped me so much. And I would just say when you come to UNCG, just find something you're passionate about, find an opportunity, because you make whatever you make of it, basically. And I would just say, just put yourself out there because you will succeed, whatever you do.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Karen. And congratulations on the job.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to thank you all for joining us today. We know it's not necessarily what a normal session would look like. And of course, we would love to have had you on campus in person, but we hope that we were able to still deliver the same quality and the same excellence that UNC Greensboro is known for. If you like what you learned today, I highly encourage all of you to check out our custom viewbook. So custom viewbook through UNC Greensboro, our custom viewbook is like a physical brochure, but it's entirely digital. And the great thing about that is that you are able to create a viewbook that is tailored uniquely to the majors and the extracurriculars that you are most interested in. So it really is going to be unique to you. And I encourage you all to check that out. You can find out tons of more in-depth information about specific programs, majors, or departments that you're uniquely interested in. And definitely reach out if you have any questions or would like to connect personally with someone from the department that you're interested in. And you can do that by just reaching out to our Office of Undergraduate Admissions here at UNC Greensboro. I do want to remind everyone, especially for viewers that are just now joining us or viewers that missed, we are having in-person tours. So if you want to come physically experience our beautiful campus and all of the great features that it contains, I definitely encourage you to schedule a physical tour. It will be led by one of our Spartan guides, such as Isabella or Karen, and they will take you around campus and show you all the different facilities and all of the great landscapes that we have here on campus. Lastly, I definitely want to encourage you all to check out our website. So if there's any questions that you have later on that we weren't able to answer today or that you weren't able to think of before we ended our session today, I encourage you to check out our website. We have tons of information. It is going to be the most up-to-date information, and it is constantly updated. So I encourage you to check that out as well. And you can find facts, figures, numbers, and everything UNCG on that webpage. And of course, you're more than welcome to reach out to our office anytime with any questions you have whatsoever. But again, I want to thank our wonderful panelists, Karen, Isabella. Thank you so much for giving up your Saturday mornings to be here. I work here at UNC Greensboro, and even I learned something new today. So I'm hoping that you all learned something new as well. And I hope you all enjoyed your experience here today. Again, thank you all for being here. We greatly appreciate it. And of course, as always, we hope you are staying healthy and safe. And we look forward to seeing you on campus soon and hopefully reviewing your application sometime in the near future. So without further ado, take care. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you again for being here. And yeah, take care.